He said, "Why am I the subject to a $360,000 bail proceeding?" I think he suspects the hand of the United States behind this. They feel hugely embarrassed by his revelations via WikiLeaks, and Julian Assange and his legal team fear that he may eventually be taken back to the United States, where of course there's a body of opinion that thinks he should be tried for espionage and WikiLeaks deemed to be a terrorist organization. He also said he had concerns about the European extradition process. He said it was a tick boxing exercise, a rubber stamping exercise, and he's also very concerned about the way in which rape trials in Sweden are conducted. A proportion of the case is always heard in private, and his concern is that at that point he might not get a fair trial. The judge here in the UK, in London, disagreed with that. He said he thought he'd get a fair trial there, and therefore he should be returned or at least sent to Sweden to undergo that process.
Now to something we won't be seeing for much longer.
2, 1. Booster ignition and the final liftoff of Discovery. A tribute to the
After 39 missions since 1984, Discovery is in space for the final time. 6 astronauts blasted off from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida to supply the International Space Station. NASA is retiring the aging shuttle fleet. The last ever flight by Atlantis is due in June. (1:30 GMT). This is Al Jazeera. These are the headlines. Libya's embattled leader, Muammar Gaddafi, is blaming Osama bin Laden and Al-Qaeda for fueling the uprising against him. In his second address to the nation since it began, he continued to sound defiant, but spoke via phone rather than in vision. Well, there's been heavy fighting in the town of Zawiya, 50 kilometers west of the capital, Tripoli, between opposition forces and Gaddafi loyalists. Further to the west, police and soldiers have reportedly deserted the Libyan leader in the town of Zuwara, where the opposition says it's now in control. The U.S. president has been consulting with European leaders about how to respond to the crisis in Libya. A statement released by the White House says Barack Obama expressed his deep concern with the Libyan government's use of violence, which violates international norms and every standard of human decency. And with oil prices around a 2.5-year high, the U.S. president is trying to calm fears they'll soar even higher. Obama says he's expecting to be able to ride out the crisis in Libya. Saudi Arabia says it can help counter supply disruptions. Iraq's government has imposed a curfew in Baghdad before planned demonstrations later on Friday. Prime Minister Nouri al-Maliki has urged people not to take part, warning they could be attacked by Al-Qaeda. Thousands of people are unhappy with the performance of their new government, and they're expected to rally. After 4 days of searching in New Zealand, hopes of finding more earthquake survivors are fading. The number of people killed in Christchurch is 113, with more than 200 still missing. Rescue teams are scouring the rubble, but the threat of aftershocks collapsing more buildings is hampering the rescue efforts. Julian Assange has condemned the extradition system as unfair. The WikiLeaks founder says he'll appeal after a British judge ruled that he can be extradited to Sweden, where he's accused of rape and sexual assault. His lawyers argue he won't get a fair trial.
2, 1. Booster ignition and the final liftoff of Discovery.
After 39 missions since 1984, Discovery is in space for the final time. 6 astronauts are on their way to supply the International Space Station. NASA is retiring the aging shuttle fleet. Those are the headlines. The news continues at the top of the hour.
We've come to a rundown state school in the middle of Sana'a, the capital of Yemen, to witness a rather special event. The country has been ruled by the same president for over 30 years, but the students here are about to participate in free and fair elections.
أشياء ستكون طبعا باختيارك كل واحدة. أنت ستكتب مثلا اسم المرشح وتأشر على رمز هذه الانتخابية وكذا وتروح ورقة في الصندوق من دون باب. لحظة، هذه ليست هي حزبية. بعض الناس يظن أن هناك مؤتمر إصلاح اشتراكي ناصري، لا، هذه ليست حزبية. هؤلاء زملائهم سيمثلون برلمان أطفال بشكل عام من أجل الحكم، من أجل مش مؤتمر وإصلاح اشتراكي وناصري، لا. أنت تختار الشخص ذاته بشخصيته، لأن ما الحزبية ما تدخل. الشخص أيضا. تفضل.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. 1. العمل على توفير جميع. مرشحكم محمد علي يحيى رزق السرمي. أولاً العمل على توفير جميع حقوق الأطفال بل الاستثناء. 2. العمل على حماية الأطفال من جميع ممارسات التي تقع ضدهم. 3. حماية الأطفال من تمييز وجميع صور الإهمال والتقصير. 4. نشر الوعي العالي والثقافة بين جميع الطلاب. 5. نشر النشاط بين المعلمين. 6. أنا أحترم الأساتذة والطلاب. 7.
Winning election to the highest office is never easy. And in Yemen, they haven't had much training in democracy. But in schools across the country, students are preparing to elect a representative to sit in what is known as the Children's Parliament. Organised by local NGO Democracy School, the Children's Parliament hold their opening session inside the real Parliament in Sana'a.
عندكم سؤال؟
هل من هذا البرلمان نضمن حقوقنا في المدرسة من الحكومة في البناء والكتب والكراسي وكثرة زحمة الطلاب؟ نعم. في الفصل والحمامات والحوش وقتلنا تفرد فيه من النوادي بدل الشوارع كمثل المدارس الأهلية لأنه تبع الحكومة؟ نعم أيوه. Yes.
Despite his best efforts to answer their questions, it's unclear if Mohammed's presentation has done enough to win over sceptical voters. Next up is candidate Bashir Shalili, one of the most popular boys in school.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف خلق الله محمد بن عبد الله الصادق الأمين. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. طبعا أنا مرشحكم البرلمان أطفال.
Yemen is the poorest country in the Arab world, and children have it especially tough. The candidates all have their own ideas of how they can improve children's rights. But before they can enter the corridors of power, those running in the election must first persuade the electorate, their classmates, that they have what it takes to make good on their campaign promises.
الرعاية الصحية والرعاية الاجتماعية والحق في اللعب والحق في اللعب والحق في الحياة